Hello, merry meet. So today I'm going to review another tiny book, and it is LBRP, The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, The Genius Child of the Golden Dawn, by Frater Abiyah. A little red book. So basically, as you can see, it's tiny. So basically what this is detailed instructions for how to do the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, as well as some history and information on the ritual. So really, normally I'm relatively skeptical when books are this small. It's only 71 pages, but uh, generally my skepticism is when they take a huge topic and then try to make a tiny little book about it. Here you have basically a pretty narrow but very important topic that has gotten its own book. Basically, generally what this does is that it expand a bit about the information you get on the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram in very many occult books. So, for those that don't know what the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram is, it's a ritual of that a lot of um, occult ceremonial magic systems uses. As the name can imply, it does banish, but at the same time, it helps you develop spiritually, get into contact with higher dimension, but also get used to working with elements. Basically, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram has three main parts. One is the Kabbalistic cross. This is an exercise to put yourself in the center of the universe, at least by your microscopy in a microcosmic standards. So you begin by, you say God names, that has its own specific function, which is also described in this book, but basically you envision yourself growing larger and larger and larger until you can connect with the energy that connects all of this universe to connect it infinitely above, and then you see that energy go through your body and connect you infinitely to below, and then infinitely to the left, infinitely to the right, therefore forming a cross. I'm simplifying this a lot. Basically putting you in the center of everything. The second part is the formation of the pentagrams from which the ritual is named. Basically, you visualize 4 pentagrams, and you visualize this as you say certain god names and phrases, and they provide a protection. There are many different ways to draw a pentagram, but when you begin in the left corner and go like this, that is by many ceremonial magic groups referred to as the banishing pentagram. It helps you to get rid of unwanted negative energy and rituals and so on and so forth. So yeah, you do these pentagram, and similar to Wiccan circle casting, you end by seeing basically a line of white energy go through all the pentagrams and then form a dome around you. So you're in now. We have already established that we are now in the center of the universe, in a protective bubble with banishing pentagrams on each side. So that's section 2. In section 3, they call the archangels. Basically, um, Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and Uriel, and we use vibrations on calling them. And these are also the guardians of a given element each. Raphael is air, Michael is fire, Gabriel is water, and Uriel is earth. So we call them. And then we make the Kabbalistic cross one more time. Basically, this is a very, very good ritual to use if you do any kind of spiritual work from New Age to ritual magic, because it helps both protect you and it helps you connect with the divine. It's a good way to develop yourself. So yeah, it's a very, very important ritual, and it also helps teach you how to get into ritual consciousness. And for many systems, it's the first ritual people learn, and many occultists use it daily. So this book can be very important. So let's dig into the book, shall we? It begins with a table of contents, which I'm going to read to you. It has an introduction, which basically just talks about the ritual and why the book was written and so on and so forth. Why the Pentagram, which discusses some elements of the Pentagram. What is the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, which gives general information on the ritual. Then we have the ritual. And this is the best part of the book. It basically goes into very deep detail about this. So let me just get it up here. Basically, we have from page 19 to 29. So we have 10 pages just describing the ritual, and it goes into just enough detail. Not so much detail that it just gets tedious, but just enough. And then it tells you how to make it into an invoking ritual, how to do the same ritual, but instead of the banishing, the invoking ritual of the pentagram. And that's a useful section too, because then you have two very useful rituals to start you on your path towards ceremonial magic. One thing I can mention here is that the index isn't the best, because here it says that the ritual starts on page 20, it starts on page 19. The invoking rituals chapter isn't even mentioned in the index, and so on and so forth. But for a book this small, it doesn't really matter, because it's easy to just flip through the pages until you find what you're looking for. If the book were bigger, I would have an issue with this. If this were several hundred pages long, that would be a real problem. As it is here, it isn't really. So then we have analysis of the divine names, which is very useful. It basically says what does these divine names mean, what's their use, what's their history, and so on. We have the archangels, which discuss those. The second now, which discuss those. The vibrational and formal, this is pretty useful. It's basically why vibrate words, how vibrate words, and so on. Now, I'm horrible at vibrating words, but basically, you can see it as a form of singing or chanting. It's basically a way to... Basically, sound has power. And one way to, for example, do a very simple healing is that if you have a thing like you, let's say you hit your hand, or your hand is in pain, you can sing to it. You can hold, for example, a tone, and for example, like this. And when I do that, I feel my skin getting warm. Basically, everything is vibrations, how it sounds, we can be used to affect the world around us. As such, vibrating sound can make it more powerful. And it goes into some detail on that. Of course, like I said, the book is small, it's limited how much detail it can go into, but yeah. Like I said, I'm not gonna try to vibrate sounds on camera because I'm horrible at it, so my Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram quite often sucks. So yeah, but in general, this book will give you some information how to do it, hopefully better than me. And then we have a bibliography, basically further reading. So, is this a good book? Yes, it is. It's simple, it's to the point. Is it absolutely necessary? Well, if you read a book like, for example, Modern Magic, it will tell you about the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. It will give you every information you need. So is this a strictly necessary book? No. But it is a handy-dandy size. It's can usually fit in a pocket. You can have it with you when you start doing the ritual, and if you forget something, it's a good introduction to the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And as being a pretty small book, it's not the most expensive thing you will find out there, so I actually recommend it. But again, you have to take basically any recommendation with a pinch of salt here. If you don't have enough money to buy more than perhaps 2 books a year, then no, I would not recommend this one. It's too narrow and it's too small. But if you buy quite a bit of books, then I would definitely recommend this one. So yeah, for what it is, it's a handy little guide. Like I said, the index is hopeless. It ignores chapters. It tells you the wrong pages, so just ignore that one. I don't know what went wrong there. Probably they wrote the book and did something messy with the editing. I don't know. This is, I think, self-published, so I mean, things like Lulu and so on and so forth, that can happen. But the information in here is pretty good. I also like the design of the book. It's very simple, it's very to the point. So yeah, I'm happy with this one. It gives you a lot of good information. Yeah, I'll give this 7 out of 10. It's a good introduction to Lesser Banishing Ritual to Pentagram. That's my review of LBRP, Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, the Genius Child of the Golden Dawn, by Frater Abiyah. Have a great day, and blessed be.